purpose. Is there anyone opposed to that course of action? There is. Right, now there's a 5-minute call. Gareth Hughes.
Mr Speaker, kia ora, ngā mihi nui kia koutou kia ora. I rise to take a call on the mixed ownership bill, which must be one of the most unpopular, damaging pieces of legislation introduced by this government in this term. What this bill is intergenerational theft. This bill is simply failed ideology back in action. This bill is going to see our electricity price rises increase. But Mr Speaker, the madness is this bill just doesn't even make economic sense. Mr Speaker, it's this government that got us into the fiscal hole that we're in right now, and it's this government that wants to flog off the people's assets to pay for their poor fiscal decisions. Of course, if you give $2 billion of tax cuts to those who need it the least, if you're throwing $1.5 billion at greenhouse gas polluters, if you've got $14 billion to throw at uneconomic roads, of course you're going to find yourself in a fiscal hole. But the best advice this government could take is to stop digging, but instead what they want to do is to sell the spade as well. It's the government that got us into this mess, and now they want to sell off our assets to get us out of it. Now, they're rushing this ideological legislation through under urgency because they know how unpopular this is. Kiwis... this legislation isn't under urgency. The process around it has been an urgent process where they haven't listened to people. They've rushed it through because they know how unpopular this is. Kiwis remember what happened when the Labour and National governments last time sold off our assets. Now, I urge the National government, if they want to listen to the people, put it to the people. Put it to a referendum. The election wasn't a mandate. Now, Mr Speaker, there is no mandate from the election. We saw a half-assed campaign from the Labour Party, and it's good to say in this House, the election wasn't a mandate on asset sales. You want a mandate? Put it to a referendum. Listen to the people. Now, it doesn't make sense. It's economically stupid. These assets are returning healthy dividends to pay off debt which costs less than the cost of borrowing for that debt, Mr Speaker. When we look back when the last government sold it, we sold Contact, BNZ, Telecom for $7 billion. Subsequently, there's been $21 billion of dividends that Kiwis have missed out. Burl Economics did an analysis of the legislation and the government's mixed ownership plan, and what we know is the Crown accountants are going to be permanently worse off as a result. What we know is electricity prices are going to increase. Analysis of MED's own data shows that private electricity generation in New Zealand is 3.3 cents per kilowatt more expensive than the state-owned enterprises. But to look at one member in particular who's making this bill possible, the Honourable Peter Dunn. Now, this man is going to go down in history as the only member of this House to be part of two governments that have sold off state assets in such a manner. Peter Dunn's going to live in infamy. I hope he's sending his CV out because I don't think he's going to be returned. But, Mr Speaker, it doesn't have to be this way. We could actually keep these assets and use it. They could be at the forefront of selling our expertise in renewable electricity generation, things like geothermal, which we're doing a good job exporting around the world. We could be using this to transform to a clean, green economy. We could be building jobs, but instead this government wants to flog them off because to make up for their own failed fiscal policies, to keep that hole from their own mistake. We'd like to thank the submitters. We heard an overwhelming message from all those submitters not to do it. It's a bad decision. We'll see you in 2014.
A point of order, the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker, I'm sorry to have to return to the issue before. Oh, I know they are because they don't want to have the documents released. I'm responding to an interjection.
No, do not respond to them. Give your point of order.
Well, last time I checked, you couldn't interject on points of order. Sir, I refer you again to Standing Order 2361. The proceedings of a select committee or a subcommittee, other than during the hearing of evidence, are not open to the public and remain strictly confidential to the committee until it reports to the House. Now, I've taken further advice, and I need a ruling or an assurance from you, that indeed, if upon request from the public for the sections of minutes that pertain to the bill before the House, which we are debating because it has been reported to the House, if any person was to request of the clerk's office to have those documents released, then I'm advised that they would have to get the scissors out and cut it up and release all those minutes. And leave, given that it's been blocked by the government, would not be required. That could be done simply through a request by a member of the public. I'd be grateful if you could confirm or not, please.
Well, yes. I'll just say, I don't actually need any assistance. Firstly, that's not a matter of order of the House. That is something that would occur outside of the House, and the member is correct in his assumption. So it is not a matter of order of the House, and I'll just say that. And we have one speaker to go. Maggie.